Live from Nashville, Tennessee on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, this is God, Freedom, and Bitcoin. Brought to you by Private Key Nashville, your one-stop shop for everything Bitcoin in Music City. Visit them at www.privatekey.nashville.io. I'm your host, Todd Gatewood, along with my wife, Janet. Janet, our show is actually about faith, personal freedom, sound money, and Bitcoin. So introduce our special guest tonight.
Well, before we have that, good evening. We need to talk about, this was an historic week. As many of our listeners know, there are ever only going to be 21 million Bitcoin mined. And I need to explain what that is to our listeners. But this past Monday, the 20th million Bitcoin was mined, leaving only 1 million left to be mined over the next 114 years. That's less than a 5% supply. So that means that most of the Bitcoin is out there. Mining it's a math problem. It's an algorithm. And when that math problem is solved, whoever solves that, they are rewarded with Bitcoin. And it creates a block on this ledger that goes across the world, this computer ledger. It's decentralized. And we probably need to do a show on mining, but that's a very brief description. But that was exciting to see that this week, and also just wild how Bitcoin, the code is in Bitcoin. And it highlights the network scarcity. So when you've got 95.2% of the total supply in circulation, this becomes a very ultra scarce digital asset. And the current price of Bitcoin right now is $71,200. It went up $1,000 since I worked on this afternoon.
All right.
So we see that moving up and down a lot. But we want to thank our listeners tonight here and abroad. We record live on Music Row from Nashville, Tennessee. While 60% of our listeners are in Tennessee, 10%? Do you want to guess what state 10% of our listeners come from? We've talked about it once before.
I don't know, Georgia.
California.
Oh, wow.
10%.
Yeah.
California.
Thanks, California.
Thanks, California. Followed closely by Florida and Georgia. And if you go worldwide, our second largest audience is in Ireland, followed by the Czech. Yeah, love the Irish, followed by the Czech Republic. I mean, so shout out to all of you overseas listening to us. We thank you for being here. If you want more information and want to learn about the topics that we cover, go to our website at godfreedomandbitcoin.io, godfreedomandbitcoin.io, and message us. Send us questions, topics that you want us to cover. So tonight, with our theme, God, Freedom, and Bitcoin, our show is going to focus more on freedom and local politics. Because without our public servants and without good people stepping up to help preserve our freedom and values, we would lose all that we love in this great nation. Getting involved in your local community can be applied no matter where you live in the world. And last night we were at a dinner and we were privileged to meet an award-winning journalist, Lara Logan. And she encouraged people not to give in to fear when considering entering politics, because that I think it is scary, but to be courageous, to stand up for what is right in our nation. And she said, we have two things that are on our side that are not on the other side. That's truth and God. And I just loved that. And the whole room applauded. If you want to learn more about what's really going on in our world, listen to Going Rogue podcast with Lara Logan. So let's switch to our guest. We are so excited this evening. So speaking of public servants and being courageous, we are honored this evening to have Mayor Lisa Anderson from Fairview, Tennessee as our special guest. Mayor Anderson has had an impressive career. After graduating from Nashville Tech, she started her classes at Tennessee Tech, but she went to Nashville Tech to finish her degree in architecture because they had the first CAD class, and she wanted to go and complete that. And anyone that works with architecture knows about CADing out a plan and a drawing, and that's everything now. And the degree, I believe, is also in engineering. She worked at the prestigious architectural firm Earl Swenson and Associates for over 10 years. And y'all, she was involved with the design of the Schermerhorn. That is one of the most beautiful buildings I've ever seen. A new building. If you've ever gone to the Schermerhorn Symphony Center, when I sit there, I look at the design in that center in awe. Absolutely beautiful. Mayor Anderson also worked on design projects with Vanderbilt Children's Hospital, but her experience in 2D and 3D CAD design has taken her through electrical, structural, and even healthcare facility designs. which is so impressive. But in 2014, she decided she wanted to pursue an entrepreneurial career, which is close to our hearts. We love that, and bought the franchise Going Postal in Fairview, Tennessee. Wow, there have been a lot of changes since 2014. We're going to talk about some of that tonight. But that is currently her full-time job. Now, wait a minute. Didn't I say she was a mayor and she has a full-time job? But her elected position, you were elected in 2022. It's not a full-time job. People don't even understand that. So, Mayor Anderson, we are thrilled to have you here live from Music Row tonight. Welcome.
Thank you, Janet and Todd. I'm so excited to be in the building where some of my heroes, G. Gordon Liddy, Phil Valentine, Rush Limbaugh, and one of my greatest heroes, Dave Ramsey, actually started their careers here. And to have you here, Janet and Todd Gatewood, some of my new heroes, to be in this same building where, likes of those men got started. What an exciting time in your career.
Thank you so much.
So
Appreciate
I'm
that.
so excited that you've chosen to have me on your show.
We're honored and privileged, and thank you for coming to join us, because we talk about God, freedom, and Bitcoin, but freedom is everything. And people stepping up, being a public servant, which is what you are, to make our community better, it's exceptional. And we have so many questions we want to ask tonight. So, Mayor Anderson, now we have a lot of questions, but we want to talk about, tell us first about designing the Skirmerhorn. That building is exceptional.
That building was so exciting to work on. A lot of people may know that part of that building was destroyed in the 2010 flood, so a lot of it had to be revamped. But one of the coolest things when we first started working on it, and we would go up the scaffolding all the way to the top and back down, on the floor, if they decide to have an event where they need floor and not seats, the seats are actually bolted to the floor on a mechanism that can take all the seats underneath the floor upside down and make it a single wooden floor. And then if they need more seating, they can actually use the mechanism to bring the seats back up.
You have got to be
No
kidding.
way.
It is the most acoustically sound building in the world.
I agree.
In the world.
As we were working on it, most ductwork is 2 feet by 2 feet. Well, the ductwork there is double the size. So if you were to go in the Skirmerhorn in the restrooms, you will notice that the ceilings are lower than your typical ceiling because it had to accommodate that ductwork to make it acoustically sound for the, symphony productions that they have in that building.
Wow. I'm artistic, so I'm captivated by the beauty of it.
It's so beautiful.
But the sound is incredible.
They actually went to Italy to bring the stone back. And we wanted to use limestone, which is, known on a lot of buildings in Nashville.
Yep.
And also it mimics the Parthenon with its design in the top of the building on the outside.
That's right. It
Yes.
does. How exciting is that and special? What an amazing, you've had a very colorful and very interesting career. Like that to me is so impressive and beautiful. I don't know if you and I we've been there. We went to see, we saw a
been there.
Colby Calais in concert
We
there.
did. And the concert was excellent. And you're right. The sound is just impeccable. And we would not have known that with the design had you not been here to tell us that. We had no idea.
And I was so privileged to work for Earl Swinson Associates for many, many years. One thing that we strive to do, and Mr. Swinson was, the person who really got this all started, is when you go into a hospital, we didn't want it to be stark and white and cold. We wanted it to feel like a hotel. We actually worked on, or actually designed the Opryland Hotel. So if you go in a lot of our hospitals, either renovation or brand new, you'll see that the rooms feel like a hotel room.
Yeah.
And in the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital, I worked mainly on ceilings, and we would have the animals and stars and moons. So when children are brought in on a gurney, what they're doing is looking up, and it just makes them feel a little bit better and heal a little bit faster.
Can I just
Absolutely.
thank you, because I remember taking my children in and looking up and thinking how thoughtful, because it just, for kids, that exact thing. I mean, that hospital is incredible, and that's beautiful. Those ceilings there are beautiful.
Yes.
I love that you did that. That's incredible. Well, we've got some questions. I want to read a quote from the Williamson Herald about you, Mayor Anderson. I hope they got their quote right. You know, in journalism and when you read things in the media, are they correct? Were you there? Did you actually hear it? But this quote is this. It says, since Lisa Anderson was elected mayor in 22, she says Fairview has turned its attention to communicating with its residents. She wants our city's government to be a collaboration with the community rather than a select few making decisions behind mostly closed doors. I want transparency and community, Anderson said during the address. I don't want just us to make decisions. I want the community involved, and I love this about your vision for leadership in Fairview. I just think that's amazing. So was that a correct quote?
It was absolutely correct. I gave that quote. When I decided to run, I just saw this disconnect between the community, the city staff, and the city government. That it shouldn't be that way. I wanted the community to feel like they were a part of every decision, but it is their tax dollars that we're using.
Right.
So we need to be good stewards of that money and get their input. So working with staff, working with our city government and our community just fluidly makes all of that happen.
Oh, I appreciate and love that so much.
Absolutely. And that's the thing about it. When you're a public servant, you're there to serve the people. You're not there to serve yourself. And unfortunately, most of our politicians, both local, state, and federal, have kind of forgot that. And you and a few others like Tim Burchett and Marsha Blackburn break the mold as far as that goes. You actually are for the people and not for yourselves. So that's a huge blessing for our community, for our state, and for our country.
Absolutely.
Literally. So that being said, guys, we'll be right back with Mayor Lisa Anderson right after this break. And we are back with God, Freedom, and Bitcoin with Mayor Lisa Anderson. Janet, take it away.
Thanks again. We are so excited. Mayor Anderson, thank you for being here with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
When we were driving in, I was asking you some questions on the way in because I was doing a little research like we all do now, right? And I was just doing it with like Google Gemini, right? There's Grok and there's ChatGPT, and the research was wrong. So I asked Mayor Anderson a question I was asking what you get paid. It's public record, and I thought it was a full-time position. And it said that you made like $45,000 plus a year when I searched AI, and I thought, I didn't think that was right because I thought it was a lot less. Guess what? AI was wrong. So for anyone listening, when you're trying to research even your politicians, don't just believe what comes back in that search engine. I've sat there and she showed me her where the city pays her in the bank to show me factually. You make about, is that $1,000 a month, $1,036?
A little over $1,000 a month.
That's not a full-time job. And I don't think that people understand that.
So the way that works, I don't think anybody who gets into small town mayorship, I guess you'd call it, they don't understand that it's not the pay that you actually get into it for. You have to be committed to the community and want to give of yourself and do good things for your community. The pay is never a factor. Mm-mm. Because most of the money that I make, and it's not a whole lot like we just discussed, is given to the schools. I don't keep any of it for myself.
Really?
But it's considered a part-time position, but if you do it correctly, it is absolutely full-time because I spend probably 40 or 50 hours a week taking care of our community, looking after our community, going to meetings to bring things back to our community that benefit them, and just being a good representative for the city of Fairview. Because the better connections you make and the more connections you make, the more you can bring back to your community and you can help your citizens.
I know for a fact that you do that because, Todd, you started working with the Chamber of Commerce probably close to 3 years ago.
Close to 3 years ago, yeah.
Williamson Inc.
Absolutely.
And I started hearing about Mayor Anderson. And Mayor Anderson was there every time I saw Mayor Anderson.
Everywhere.
Because I would say,
Everywhere.
who did you see? Because I was always working. And you were present, and you were promoting Fairview out to the public. And you have to do that. You have to say, hey, you have to bring attention to it and learn from what the other mayors are doing, learn what's going on in the county, what can you bring back? And so I appreciate how dedicated you are to it, because I know you don't treat it like a part-time job.
Thank you. I don't.
You give your personal number out to anyone that has a question. I don't know any mayor. Maybe mayors that do it. I haven't researched that, but that to me seems very unusual.
Yeah, and mind you, she actually runs a very successful business as well. So, I mean, she's working two full-time jobs, one basically for the citizens of Fairview, but also her own personal business. And, of course, it's like a hop, skip, and a jump to the city hall.
I say I have a triangle.
You do.
My Going Postal business, which is a shipping service, is right next door to City Hall. Yeah. And then I live a mile down the road. So I have this triangle that I keep, and as well as going into the community. I have a sign on my car with my picture and my phone number and the slogan that I've always stood by, always here for you.
Yeah.
And I just want people, I have my personal number on the car so that anyone who wants to reach me has the ability to reach me and just tell me their concerns or their dreams for our community, because I want to know what our citizens want. I want to know what their dreams are, what their passions are, what their concerns are, so that we can all work together to make resolution.
Absolutely. And what you have brought into our community since we've been there has been absolutely amazing as far as the projects and stuff. A ton.
We've got a list. We actually going to do a whole segment on those, because it's impressive what you have brought into the community. When you started this journey, what was it like campaigning for mayor? What was that like in Fairview?
So when I started, we probably had around 3,000 to 4,000 registered voters. The last election, we had 7,100 registered voters. So
wow. That's growth.
Yes. So when I started, most of the people in our community were longtime residents. Some new, but mostly longtime residents. So I felt like if I did a door-to-door campaign, it would be, hey, girl, come inside, and I'd spend an hour. So
I'd love that.
What I did is I just had like festivals where I would invite people in. We'd have food and music and just get to know me and, ask me what I'm all about and what I'd like to do for them if I were, were to be elected mayor. And I guess they like what they heard because I won.
Absolutely.
And we're all benefiting from that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what surprised you the most about the job once you became mayor? Was there something that really surprised you?
The time commitment. Yeah. There's so many people in our community, and I just love the fact that they reach out to me and I can help them with different things. But, the builders feel comfortable calling me. The developers feel comfortable calling me. Different business owners, because I've been a part of all of that.
Your background helps with that. That gets instant credibility with the people who are building the community out, because you've lived that life.
I've lived that life.
Yeah.
For 20 years, I was in architecture and engineering before I decided to venture out and start my own business, which is very successful, and the community has supported me, and it's just been wonderful, along with being the mayor.
Yeah.
You think about those qualities, because we have people running their own businesses that need someone that understands that perspective. But then our community is growing so much, and we've heard the feedback, we don't want it to become another Spring Hill. Not to diss Spring Hill, guys, but it was the infrastructure that people are concerned about and the traffic. But the thing is that your background is engineering and architecture. Now, while it's buildings, that can apply to roads and to how things flow and move. Engineering can apply to all that. To have someone in the mayor's office willing to do that part-time while running your business, that Les Fairview is exceptional. Exceptional.
And there's a group that we meet once a month. It's called GNRC, Greater Nashville Regional Council. So I attend every single one of those meetings. It's with all the mayors of Middle Tennessee, and we work together on the topics of, traffic and solid waste and sewer capability, just all of these different things that all the mayors in Middle Tennessee deal with. And we collaborate on that so that we can have a regional approach where we're not just isolating our individual municipalities.
That is so smart. It's sort of like the chambers of commerce of the different areas all came together under Williamson Inc.
Yeah.
They're working together. Like that synergy. Williamson County is one of the wealthiest counties in the nation, by the way. Like one of the wealthiest. And it's so but to see that collaboration and that work together, it's really smart and it's efficient.
It's huge. It's huge because, look, if you can't collaborate with your different districts and different townships, you're not going to be successful. You're going to be divided. And if everybody comes under one roof and works together and tries to figure out different ideas and things how to implement, you're going to be successful. And me personally, I believe Williamson County has been the best as far as the collaboration, working with one another to try to figure out the different problems, whether it's traffic or infrastructure and things like that.
And for our listeners, Williamson County is south of Davidson County, and Nashville, Tennessee is in Davidson County. So we're talking about just south of Nashville. So let me ask you this. What's a typical day like in the life of a small town mayor who actually runs your own business? How do you balance all of it?
Okay, so I have a great assistant and manager of my business. Her name's Chelsea, and she opens my business. My typical day, my mother is in a beautiful assisted living that was just built 2 years ago called the Pearl in Fairview. It's assisted living and memory care. She's there. She had a stroke. She's 80. So in the first thing in the morning, I go and spend a little bit of time with her. Oh. Well, let me back up. When I first wake up, I spend time with God. There's no way to begin a day without having a little quiet time where you just ask the Lord to bless your day, help you to navigate the day, and to surround you so that you're protected throughout the day. So that's my beginning. Then I go see my mother. I help her take her medicine in the morning, and we spend a little time together. Then I go to my business to check and see if there's anything for the day that needs to be done. I leave and go to City Hall. I kind of walk around City Hall and check with the staff and see if there's anything that they need. Then I usually have a meeting or two, in different parts, in either whether it be in Franklin or Nashville, that has to do with representing Fairview and trying to get great things for our community. Then I go home, and my son and daughter-in-law live with me. So we prepare dinner together, and we just enjoy some quiet time there. I don't have a TV at my house. I like to, if I want to see anything, I listen. I like to listen to a lot of podcasts to learn information about healthy living and just being the best person I can be and living the longest so that I can affect my community in a healthy way.
Wow. Okay.
I'm tired just listening to that, to be honest with you. That's amazing.
I'm kind of had tears the way you start your day, because it is the way we need to start our day. And it brings that calm and that peace, and it helps us know we're not in control, and it's just beautiful. And it does help order, because our responses are different. When you start it in prayer and you start it with God, your response it's more being his response, his hands and feet, not about us that day. And I appreciate that, because that means a lot to us. That means everything to us to have a Christian leader in our community.
Well, the Lord's like my friend. All day long, I talk to him and I seek his guidance in everything I do, because when you're running a business, when you're running the city, when you're taking care of an elderly mom and also trying to be a good role model to young people that you've helped, you've raised, you have to have the Lord all throughout the day, just reaching out, having guidance, and just feeling him speaking to you all day long.
Yeah.
It helps you get through each day. It's the only way to do it.
Our country was founded on this.
Yes.
They're trying to take it out of schools. They try to take it out of the courthouses, but we were founded on Christian faith, on freedom of religion, but on a Christian faith. In God we trust.
Yeah.
And I can tell you one thing, before every meeting I'm on the planning commission, and I'm also on the board of commissioners as the leader, as the mayor. Every meeting I have, we start with a prayer, and I pray in Jesus' name, and we say the Pledge of Allegiance. if they ever told me I could not do that, then I would not be the mayor anymore.
Amen.
Got to make a stand, right?
Yes, take a stand and be courageous.
You have to take a stand.
That's what's most important.
That's what Laura Logan said last night.
That's right.
You have to take a stand. There's
the
no in
truth
between.
And courage.
Absolutely. And that's the thing about it. So, guys, with that being said, stay with us. We'll be right back with Mayor Lisa Anderson. And we are back with God, Freedom, and Bitcoin. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Private Key Nashville, located 1619 Galleria Boulevard in Cool Springs near Best Buy. They offer classes, loans for Bitcoin, private bulk purchases, Bitcoin mining, and office space for members. Visit them at www.privatekeynashville.io. Janet, take it away.
Thanks. I also want to reference our website, which is godfreedomandbitcoin.io. We offer Bitcoin consultations, and we have VIP consultations where we will fly our consultant to you and put together a package. Visit that website. We have books on there that you can also read about Bitcoin and links to all of our shows. So back to Mayor Lisa Anderson. Thank you so much again for joining us this evening.
You.
And one of the things I want to talk about, which is something that every politician has to deal with, every business owner, every person, social media. Because let me tell you, it is ugly out there. And why do people think it's okay to just rip into someone on social media? We call them, keyboard warriors?
Keyboard warriors, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So, Todd, we've talked about, should we ever get into politics? I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. You have to have that courage that Laura Logan talked about, because people are going to come at you, and you have to have that thick skin. I can only imagine. I want to hear from you, Mayor Anderson, what that has been like as far as being mayor of Fairview and the emergence of Facebook and politics and things that are said on there, true, untrue, angry, lies, slurs. What have you had to deal with as mayor with Facebook?
So when I started, I've lived in Fairview over 33 years. And when I started and decided, I want to make a difference out here. And I really prayed about it. And I said, God, please put me in a position to be able to encourage and affect our citizens in a way that I show them that I really care about them. And I want to do and involve them in every decision we make. So back in the day when I started on the Planning Commission, over 15 years ago, we didn't deal with as much social media as we do now. It really hurts my heart when someone says something on social media that is totally inaccurate, and it instills fear in our community. So I just always encourage when I'm in my meetings, please don't listen to the social media, Facebook. Come to the people who have the knowledge. Get the accurate information. And if you do want to put something out there, just make sure that it's positive and it's accurate and it doesn't portray someone or something in a negative light that can start a media frenzy that is totally off base and just, promotes fear and promotes anxiety within our community.
Yeah, it's like people have their 15 seconds of fame on there, and they get to make one thing to create all of this
viral
negative energy, right? Like I was looking at one of the sites today, and it was talking about Bowie Nature Park. And we have the most beautiful park in Fairview, Tennessee. I think there are 7 lakes.
Yes.
I can't remember how many acres Bowie is.
It's over 700.
And we have so many trails, several miles of trails.
Beautiful miles of trails.
And it's pine trees. It is the most beautiful place. And it was severely damaged in the storm Fern. And what I was looking at today is people were mad. They want to go walk in Bowie. Why can't we go help? And they're not helping us, so let's go call the governor and let's call the media. And it was all this. They didn't listen to the Board of Commissioners meeting last week because y'all explained what was going on. But would you tell us what's going on with Bowie Nature Park and what the citizens can expect? A lot of people move there because of that park.
We have the most beautiful 700 plus acre nature park with lakes and trails and a beautiful brand new playground that all the kids love to enjoy. And it's the most beautiful park in Williamson County. Of course, we want it open to our citizens, but I've seen just one branch that you would think that wouldn't even hurt someone. I've seen where it fell and went through the roof of one of our pavilions, pierced the roof. If any of our citizens or their children or their animals were walking out there, and one of those, they call them widow makers. It's a hanging limb way above that you might not see, that just totally anytime could break loose and fall, and it could kill someone. So right now we have been working feverishly, our city manager mainly, to work with the state and feds to get money to come in. We have to pay 12.5%. They cover 75 and the other 12.5 to get our park cleaned up. So to be good stewards of our taxpayer money and to get the park open quickly, more quickly than it would be if we had somebody come in and just remove everything, there's something called they can cut and drop, where the trails will be clear, but these limbs will be dropped in the wooded area. That wouldn't affect, no one really goes in that area. We just look at it as beauty. So that is starting on Monday. We have contractors coming in from the state, and they are going to do a sweep through our whole community. People have put their brush and their limbs and everything to the curb. They're going to spend time cleaning that up. It'll take about a week, and then they will begin on Bowie Nature Park. I don't see that it taking that long because we've just, it's going to come before the Board of Commissioners, but I don't see that will be a problem, us deciding to do the cut and drop so that we can get the park back open to our community.
Right.
And I don't think most people understand the liability that comes to the city if you were to open that park up too early and someone was killed.
Yes.
I mean, it's mentally it would be tough, but it's also financially, if you have people dying in there because of those widowmakers, that's a huge liability to the city. And that also means you would have to increase probably taxes to cover any lawsuits that would occur.
It would be devastating.
Absolutely it would.
Yes.
Yeah.
Think about this, though, throughout the Southeast. That storm covered 2,000 square miles. 2,000. How many parks have widowmakers? This is not just a Fairview issue. You think about Edwin Warner and Percy Warner and Radnor Lake. I mean, these here in Middle Tennessee. Guys, anyone listening that loves walking at the parks, make sure, don't rush it too fast. I mean, we really do need to be careful. And I appreciate the carefulness to that, because we were hoping to start walking a whole lot there this spring, but you know what? I'd like to live a lot longer, so I'd like to give y'all the time to get that cleaned up. But I think some of the citizens, they're on Facebook and they're making these comments, they're not listening. So if you're from Fairview listening, listen to the Board of Commissioners meetings. Go back. They're all on YouTube under City of Fairview. And most of cities, municipalities now have that, where people can understand what's going on in their community and get more involved and be more educated. Because I find that as we're out in the community, a lot of people don't know. And getting that word out, communicating is huge. And you can only put so much out. You can't make people listen to it and read everything. It's a big challenge.
The City of Fairview Facebook page is a wonderful wealth of knowledge and accuracy. I encourage everyone to not believe what they're hearing on social media as the truth of how the park cleanup and reopening is going to happen. We're posting everything on the City of Fairview Facebook page, and people need to go there for the correct and accurate information.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And again, that can be applied to every community. You have to go to the source. City of Fairview, City of Nashville, go to the source, and you really have to do your research and understand before you make claims or accusations or that type of thing. Have you had personal attacks? I'm just going to ask because this is social media, right? People can be so mean. Have you seen that happen in your life since you've been mayor?
So anytime you're at what is perceived to be the top,
right?
Top of a city would be the mayor. Anytime you're perceived to be the top, there are always people who are trying to bring you down, or maybe an election's coming and they have their own candidate, so they'll put out negative publicity about you that's not accurate. And that's very hurtful and most of the time not true. So I just encourage people, if they want to really know the candidate or the person, to go talk to them in person. I just cannot believe how someone could go on Facebook, they can create a fake Facebook profile, and they can talk about candidates or people or businesses and they're hiding behind their computer no one knowing who the actual person is. Now, a lot of times we do know, but you can't prove it a lot of times. But that is so hurtful when someone can say negative, hurtful things behind a fake Facebook profile.
Well, the sad part about that is they're not part of the solution; they're part of the problem. And it's like when you use that platform as a stair step. And I think a lot of times what these people do that are running for office and stuff try to bring down a person without having the facts, unfortunately, and use that as a platform to, I'm going to take that position. And I'm just going to throw out whatever mud I can and see what sticks on the wall. And unfortunately, that's politics in general. And you know it. You've been in it long enough to understand that. That's not going to change. But what you hope is that people will see the truth. But it's all about emotions and people getting people's emotions up and just throwing it out there, and then they feed into that. And that's why social media is a true problem. So that being said, guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back for our last segment on God, Freedom, and Bitcoin. And we are back with God, Freedom, and Bitcoin, our final segment with Mayor Lisa Anderson. Quick hour. I could use about 2 more.
Oh, my goodness. Me too. Welcome back. We are God, Freedom, and Bitcoin. Todd and Janet Gatewood here. Visit our website at godfreedomandbitcoin.io. We are thrilled tonight to have Mayor Lisa Anderson of Fairview, Tennessee. We've talked about a lot of topics. This is our last segment, and there are 2 topics I want to talk about that I'm so excited about. One is Ascension. St. Thomas has proposed to bring an ER to Fairview, but a campus. I believe it's a 34-acre campus that also has specialty doctors. They have diagnostic machines, so we'll have CT scanners and x-rays. They'll have a lab. We need that. And the location for that is amazing because it is before you get on deeper into Fairview, so more people will be able to access it easier. Because if Fairview's backed up with the high school, or if Highway 100 is, there's a second company that's come in, TriStar, and they also are now wanting to bid to do an ER. So I love that we're so popular. Everybody wants to bring an ER there because we need one, right? But that one is purely an ER. They're both about 10,000, 11,000 square feet. So we definitely need it, and that they both are competing for a state permit. I don't know if the state will give them 2, but can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I do know that you spent about 8 months working with Ascension trying to bring that one to Fairview.
Yes, actually, our economic development officer, Patty Carroll, who is a former mayor of Fairview, she and I spoke with Ascension, St. Thomas, and TriStar both on. We spoke with both of them on a recent trip, a leadership conference trip, and also we have been reaching out to them and meeting with them, plus community without a freestanding ER. So it's so exciting that both of these great, corporations want to look at Fairview as being their home for freestanding ER. You've got HCA TriStar, where they are tax-based, and then you've got Ascension St. Thomas that is not tax-based, but they're going to be on a campus, and all of Dr. Sherwood is partnering with them to bring family medicine, and Kelly Olson mental health with other opportunities to expand. They are tax-based. So even though Ascension St. Thomas is not for profit, we will have it, if they are chosen to come, they will have the whole campus where the other offices will be tax-based.
I'm so excited about that. And I know I have to jump to this next topic because of our time.
Yes.
But y'all keep an eye on Fairview because this is exciting. The other thing I'm very excited about is it City Center?
City Center.
City Center. This is a Regent Homes development. So if anyone in the Nashville area is familiar with Tollgate, you have businesses below, residences above, and you have a combination of condos, townhomes, and then freestanding homes. And I think Lennar is also coming in and building up close to 500 rooftops we'll have in that. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so Dave McGowan and Regent Homes came to us, and they got approved to do our city center. This is one of the most exciting things that Fairview's seen since Publix. Publix was,
that was huge.
One of the big, huge
Publix.
things. I worked on that, Walmart. I've been around Since, I helped bring Walmart and Publix and, Ace Hardware. We're going to have one of the best
That's
Ace
huge.
Hardwares. The Murphys are bringing that to Fairview. They have the one of the first grocery stores in Fairview. But our city center, it's right next to City Hall. And City Center Way goes behind Hardee's and goes up to where City Center will enter. It will also have a traffic light on Highway 100, which is going to be exciting. So as you enter City Center, we will have what's called work live. You see some of these in Franklin,
Yes.
where people live above and there's businesses below. So we'll have some of that. We'll have a beautiful gathering area with amphitheater, different just where people can gather, community can come together, walkability. They will have a pavilion where, people can have different events if they'd like. So, and also it will have townhomes and single family homes, as well as, I believe it's 5 different spots that are out parcels for a nice restaurant or a nice business.
We've heard steakhouse. People want a steakhouse.
Oh,
big
yes.
time.
And
We all want a steak.
Everybody
yeah,
wants
and
a steakhouse.
everybody wants Chick-fil-A. So
Steak first. No.
Yeah, steak first.
Chick-fil-A.
But
Steak
you know
first.
what?
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A makes sense because the average age of Fairview, if AI is correct, and we don't know if it is now,
Says,
said it was 33 years old for Fairview, the average age, which tells me there are a lot of kids out there.
yes.
Isn't that a wild number?
Well, it is a wild number, and I'll be honest with you. It's such a great place to live. It's so family oriented. Because I grew up in a small town, and it's got that small town feel. Everybody knows everybody. The Fairview, the Yellow Jackets and stuff. Everybody supports their local high school and elementary schools and stuff like that. So it's amazing the amount of community support that you have out there. Just good families trying to make it. And Mayor Lisa Anderson has done a wonderful job as far as nurturing that.
Yeah, and I'd like to add that to our city manager has done an excellent job, Tom Dougherty.
Yes.
He's done an excellent job, like 11 years, right? Like he's been there a long time.
He started out as our CFMO in finance. And when I got elected, shortly after a few weeks, he was made our city manager. He just has that kind, laid-back personality that makes everybody feel at ease. They want to do their job. They want to do a great job for him because he's such a great leader. And I love working alongside him.
That's incredible. And Economic Director of Development, former Mayor Patty Carroll have all done an excellent job. To have so much in our leadership that really care and they're putting their heart and soul into it. I mean, this is a city that I think it's roughly 11,000 people in city, correct?
Yes.
And it's been growing around 2 to 3% a year. But as these rooftops get added and as people expand and they're discovering Fairview, because I'm a realtor, I have more and more clients wanting Fairview, which is awesome because it's so much faster to go show the house 10 minutes away than 45.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I'm very proud to be able to show that. And I've loved coming to the Board of Commissioners meetings because I love learning about it. And my eyes are open. I'm understanding things better rather than just going, I wonder what that is or wonder why that happened. So is there one of the favorite things that you, being mayor, what is one of the things you've enjoyed the most, that has meant the most to you?
Just seeing our community grow properly and bring things to our community that our community gets excited about. Having our own Walmart. We have a Walmart that other communities come to our Walmart even if they have one because it's the best. It's clean and beautiful, and
Safe.
the people who work there
Safe, yeah.
just, they make you feel welcome.
They're so nice. Okay,
Yes.
and I have to do a shout out to Waffle House because we had that event last night. We might have gone.
We met Hope last night. She was darling.
Todd might have gone into Waffle House with the tux on last night. And I was in a formal. We were a little overdressed, but it was really fun to have a Waffle House there, 24/7 in Fairview. It's the thing
We are so blessed to be in a unique situation where our community sits in the middle of 840, Highway 100, Highway 96, and Interstate 40.
Yes.
So you can get anywhere in 30 to 45 minutes, usually in about 30 minutes. And we've even got one of my greatest, I feel like, accomplishments. We've even got a company coming that they make parts for the Department of Defense called Laystar. They were already about to sign a contract in Hickman County. When I went to a water board meeting, some people say, why do you go to so many meetings? Well, let me tell you why. It's because when you make connections
Yes.
and when you network, how important is that? Like with the TriStar and Ascension, we networked. They see how
Yes.
excited we are about Fairview. And so when I went to that water board meeting and I met the owners, Crystal and Michael of Laystar, they said, we want to be in Fairview. So they pulled that contract and they're coming to Fairview. So it's just so exciting.
Mayor Lisa Anderson making it happen. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. Guys, thank you for joining us tonight for another show with God, Freedom, and Bitcoin on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good night, God bless, and stay free. Take care, everyone.